Salutations and shit, guys. Welcome back to another episode of your new favorite travel podcast, Salutations. Travel and shit. I am your host, D. Carey. And like I told y'all motherfuckers last week, I cannot choose which theme song I like the most. Again, thank you to Abe. Um, I am absolutely in love with all the versions that he has sent. So this week, be sure to let me know what version of the theme song you guys really fuck with. So we've got the one from last week, we've got the one from this week. If you don't remember what the song was last week, go to episode 109, press the fuck play. And there you have it. And then send me an email, dcarey@travelandshippodcast.com, and let me know which one you enjoy. So also this week, I mentioned last week when I was celebrating the 2 years that we have been rocking together with Travel and Shit, that I am doing a few giveaways, and this happens to be one of the options for a giveaway. So I'm giving away a hoodie, and to win a hoodie, what did I say to do? To win a hoodie, let me pull it up so I don't lie to you people. Pulling episode descriptions. Hoodie of your choice. Leave a rating on iTunes, but essentially you're gonna have to send me a screenshot because I don't want you guys to leave your email address in a review, just so that y'all don't get a bunch of spam from randoms just looking to email people stuff. So send me a screenshot of your rating and review for Travel and Shit on iTunes. And that, of course, will also go to dcarey@travelandshippodcast.com. And if you would like to win a $25 gift card to my personal favorite nursery, which has provided me with not all the plants back here, but with a good portion of the plants that I happen to have in my home, you can take my listener survey. There is a really easy and really quick survey that I put together just so I can get a better feel for who you guys are. And that link is in the episode description. And if you would like 10% off of Travel and Shit merch, so if you don't want to take your chances and try to win a hoodie or a phone case or a dad hat, a tote bag, whatever it is you so happen to be interested in, you can get 10% off by signing up for my mailing list. And I promise you, I don't want to send a million emails, so you won't get a million emails. Only emails you really get are if there is when there's a new episode. It's a reminder, rocket science, right? That's pretty much it. And also to keep you abreast of anything new and exciting that happens with Travel and Shit. Every once in a while, I come across really, really useful information. I found an article today, actually. I want to say it was either from No Madness or from Blavity, but a woman found a hidden camera in one of her Airbnbs. And yeah, I sent you the article earlier today, D. It actually looked like a charger. I can say that if I weren't looking for cameras, that I may have missed that, but thankfully she noticed it. And there's a lot of really interesting information. So if you guys do find that you would like me to compile every once in a while, maybe like twice a month, because I really want to have another responsibility to tend to. But you know, if something comes up and I do you know, find useful information, that is absolutely something that could be emailed. But all that being said, all the information is in the episode description. So if you're interested in one of the giveaways in celebration for 2 years, go to the description. It's all there. It's not rocket science. Whichever it is you're interested in getting, it'll be there for you. So enough of the intro. If you haven't noticed, I have a guest. My beautiful guest, please introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, everybody. My name is Danays, and I am an artist.
What kind of artist? Tell the people what kind of artist you are, because artistry comes in many forms.
Okay, I sing and I dance. I compose music. I rap in English and Spanish. I am also an artist in the classroom. I'm an educator. I am a middle school math teacher. And I'm also an artist for the soul and the body because I offer wellness experiences for people.
What
So,
kind of experiences do you offer?
so you can really call it massages, right? There are massages for the brain, for the chakras, to ground yourself. Um, me, my company, I massage your entire body from head to toe, providing a healing and a positive vibrational experience. You know,
Look at
especially
you.
in these moments of turmoil.
Bruh, so we are recording on election day, folks. I hope y'all went out and
Oh my
let
god.
your voices be heard because, it is what it is. The world will be what it will be. And by the world, I mean this country will be what it will be. As a traveling American, it can be quite embarrassing to claim the country when we're, in other places. I try to just hold on to the good that I feel when I am places. I mean, I don't know the president personally, so I would like to hope that people don't hold him against me. But all that being said, we're just hoping for the best. I mean, it could go to shit either way. It can be good in either way. I personally just try to be like an optimist,
Well,
try to be as
when
positive as possible.
when I travel, I get asked often, where am I from? And my initial response is always Dominican Republic,
Hmm.
right? Like that's where my nationality, that's where I'm from, right? That's where I'm from. My heart and my soul, that's where I'm from. Um, and that I have experienced that makes people friendlier.
Mm,
Then when I say, I'm living in New York, then they're like, wow, how is America? Right? Because I identify with my Dominican heritage
right.
a lot, so I amplify that when I walk, when I talk, right? When I do my shows. It's very Latin, so I identify with my Dominican culture. And so when I tell people that I live in New York, which I do live in New York, they
Hmm.
have a sort of sympathy, and it kind of makes me feel like, okay, you know what? Maybe we don't have to have that conversation. I'm like, oh, you're American.
Right.
It's more like, oh my God, how is it living? How is it being somebody so amazing living in such a place?
Yeah.
So I could offer that, like maybe uh us, especially black and brown babies,
Mhm.
we should honor our culture. Where we from? We're baby from Trinidad and Tobago, baby. Where we
But
from? you know?
so funny you should mention that, but I am American. That is my culture. As my
Yeah.
mama would say, I'm seventh generation free.
Yeah.
So this shit show is my culture. I don't have a home country other than this country. And then I would have to do too much deep diving to locate someplace other than the States. I know my dad's family has some Jamaican heritage, but that doesn't start until his grandparents. And neither his parents nor he were raised with any Jamaican heritage. They were raised
God,
American. So
American.
that just falls flat.
So what do
It
you
doesn't
tell? What do
matter.
you? So do you identify as like an American, or do you identify as black?
Boom,
Like
right there. I'm black.
right there, you black.
Right.
So
But for
let's go deep.
somebody,
Let's go deep. Let's go
go.
deep. Where in Africa is your family from originally? Do you know?
So if you're hearing the pauses, I'm drinking wine. For those of y'all that aren't watching on YouTube, I did my ancestry DNA and mostly West African. Now, what's strange about, I won't say strange, but to me, it's a little strange. What's strange about ancestry.com is that your results will update as time progresses. I guess as more people submit their DNA, or I don't know. I'm sure there's fine print someplace that explains how it's done, but the information, it gets populated and things change. So I'm mostly West African. I want to say Cameroon, Congo, Ivory Coast, and someplace else. I can't really think of it right now. It's at the tip of my tongue, but I can't pull it. Excuse me. I'm over 80% African, and it's mostly West and Central Africa. However, what is that doing me? I know nothing of the culture. And then these are entire countries, these are entire regions. Where in that country would I be able to pinpoint or locate anyone? If I were to go to Ivory Coast, it's kind of like assuming that all of America is the same. You've got Southern culture, you've got Northeast culture, you've got West,
Well,
you've got
well,
Midwest, you've got, you know
well,
what I
you
mean?
know what? I think that's my sister. I think that's a life. That's a life journey that like, I don't know, maybe that's a project that we should take on. And when I say we, I mean, like, that's a project that we should take on. Why not? You already went so far as to finding out you're part of those countries. So however we can go further and see where your family was from in those countries. And if not, then guess what? It's okay. Because you know what I
Right,
realized? That Dominicans, yes, some Dominicans from the south, from Santo Domingo, are different, and their culture, their food is different, the way they talk is different than people from the north. But guess
right.
what? We're all Dominican. We're all Dominican, right? We just do things a little different, but it's still the same dance, baby. It's still the same dance. So I feel like if we hit a wall, right, and we're like, man, we can't literally go deeper, then maybe we should explore those countries and see, well, let me just see, right? Let me just be open with an open mind and see.
So that's one of the things that I absolutely do want to do is visit those countries, Ivory Coast being at the top of the list for me, just because superficial reasons. You know what I mean? Just when you Google the fucking country, I'm just like, oh, pretty. I want to go here. This beach looks really nice. This is where I would like to start. That
Interesting.
being said,
Okay. Okay.
once I do that, I wouldn't, and I mean, and part of me is curious, but at the same time, I feel like even if I were to find where my ancestry originated, I don't want that to necessarily be the end all be all, because there's so much in between. If I originated here, that's cool, but what if just because it started here doesn't mean that it had, like, that doesn't necessitate the heaviest influence
Right.
culturally, I would assume.
Right.
But all that being said, I don't necessarily know anything of those cultures, so I don't identify as
Right.
strongly with those cultures.
So then you'd be
I
the one having a
identify,
convers would be a you'd be a person having that conversation, like, yeah, I'm American. Oh, I'm black
I don't
and
even, yeah,
American.
I don't even, I mean, I don't necessarily like African American that much as a term in and of itself, but I haven't really done a deep dive into the why of that. I
Right.
prefer Black only because it doesn't necessarily highlight one or another. It doesn't highlight Africa or America, but I am very much so, but I do identify as, not as, but I identify with the African in me. Like
Yeah.
my tie and connection to Blackness is very important to me.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel
And
you.
I feel in terms of culture, I am very American. Like I
Hmm.
have very American views. I could never dismiss that. You know what I mean? Like, what you mean a woman's supposed to serve her man? Like, bitch, I got the option. Like, if I decide to do that, that's one thing, but that's not what I am doing because I feel I have I don't feel like it's necessary. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Or you have to, yeah, treat your parents this way or that way because culturally that's how it works. But no, not so much. Like, I fuck with my parents, like they aight. So yeah, I don't mind doing things for them. Or even if I fuss
But
and moan and complain about it, like, I'ma still do it just because I know how much they've done for me, not be out of like a cultural duty to
right,
do
right.
so,
Mhm.
kind of thing. But yeah, so I would be curious to, do, I guess, an extensive, deep genealogy deep dive, but that, when I get wild paper, I would like to put somebody on that task and be like, yeah, do the work and let me go through what you find and, you know, dibble and dabble around what seems really interesting to me and dive into it. But then the catch with that is, even if I were to find something really interesting on one side or the other, how much then does that influence what I do going forward? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
if I
Mhm.
don't necessarily have a tie or a connection to it, how much does it matter?
Yeah.
So, girl, I don't know. I don't know. But I do have a question for you before we jump into what we had discussed a little bit earlier. Question being, as do you consider yourself Dominican or Dominican American?
Dominican American, what the heck is that?
I don't know. It just came to me. I don't
No,
know if that's like
no.
a thing.
That's
Like,
not a
okay.
that's not a thing. That's not a term. You Dominican? Yep, I'm Dominican. Done.
So I have my feelings on DR just off the strength of how I know they've treated Haitians. Um, but more so the, what's the word I'm looking for? This is like my third glass, second, third glass. So bear with me, guys. I want to say, like, politically, you know what I mean? It's just like, I have Dominican friends. Y'all don't got no problems with Haitians. But the to my understanding of the culture of the island is that they don't fuck with the Haitians and they make it very difficult for the Haitians to be there. I know the government there has taken extensive measures to make the lives of Haitians very difficult and to remove them from the country where they've been able to legally, air quotes there, see fit. So my question to you is, I know that to not be your personality. I know that to not be your demeanor. But in being so proud of your culture, how does, like, where is the disconnect, or where, like, talk me through that. I don't, because I don't necessarily, and I feel like that's like the really unique thing about being American, is that we can claim being American without necessarily having to connect ourselves to the fuck shit that America does. And I'm curious as to if that um is also prevalent for people that are from other countries. Like, if you're
So am I
from,
so am I being attached to the fuck shit that's happening in DR? Basically is what you're asking me.
I know your personality to not, because I know you personally. So it's just like, no, I know that you don't. But when you, like, speak highly of your country, or when you say you're Dominican, I'm, in my opinion, like, okay, so this is maybe a better way to ask it. What are your views or opinions on someone that says they don't want to visit your home country because of the way the country is treating some of its citizens or treating some of the people that go there?
I would feel a little disappointed and a little embarrassed about it. However, I am somebody with an open mind, and I know that the reason why all those things are happening is because at the beginning, when Hispaniola was founded, that's what it was founded on, right? Separating, dividing, putting people against each other, right? The Spaniards who came, the conquistadors who came, they were ruling against the people. They turned their own people against each other so that they could serve, so that they can feel powerful. And that's where it all comes from, really. It
Hmm.
comes from that. And so imagine generational poverty, generational oppression. You're blacker, you're darker than me. Guess what? You are ugly. You are worthless. You are worth less than me. And that was passed on. And the
Hmm.
reality is that what we are doing, people like you and I, or like people like me who are first generation Americans, right? We are having that conversation with our parents and being open and letting them know, listen, just because my hair is a different texture or just because you're darker than me doesn't mean anything, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that we're different. It doesn't mean that we have less value. It doesn't mean that. And so when people tell me that, I say, well, when I talk about Dominican Republic, I really think about identify with the culture, the way people speak, the way people treat you in within the community, the way that they help you out, the way that they love, the way that the food smells and tastes, the traditions that the good traditions that are passed down from family to family. That's what I talk about, and that's what I feel when I think about Dominican Republic. And when somebody's telling me that, what's going on with the violence, I just let them know, hey, when you go to Dominican Republic, you just have to be careful. You have to have some money so you can have a driver. Make sure that you're not wearing flashy jewelry, because unfortunately the situation in the country right now is that people are oppressing each other and they don't have a lot of food, a lot of money for food, so they are stealing from each other. And you just have to be honest with people and letting them know. This is something that's been happening since the beginning of time with people anyway. It's just that unfortunately the government in that country is not doing their job with honesty and with their heart. And so that's what I tell people, and they always buy it. They be like, well, you know what? I want to go to the Dominican Republic. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You
Yeah.
mean to tell me that because you're scared or because you have an opinion about the way one country is being run, you're not going to go enjoy the wonders of the food, the way the food tastes. You're not going to enjoy the beautiful beaches. You're not going to enjoy the ocean. You're not going to enjoy the tropical breeze. You kidding me? The five
Mhm.
most amazing things in the world you're not going to enjoy because you're worried about something that was uprooted, or like that was actually rooted. And what do you call that when you are planting something, like planting from the beginning of their time of that country, like when it was quote unquote founded.
I mean, and that's the same for the United States. Like, this country
Yeah.
wasn't founded on the
Hmm.
greatest of principles.
Hmm. which
You know
is
that to be
which
true.
is which is why when people tell me like, oh my god, how are things, I always go back to being vulnerable, right, expressing how you feel and being open and having conversations that are difficult. That this way you can let people know, you know what, just because the country's being run a certain way, that doesn't mean that everybody behaves that way, right? A lot of it is
Mhm.
being portrayed in the media, and we as people that watch the media have an idea of what things are because of what the media shows us. But what we need to learn is that the media is also a business and is controlled
Oh, of
by
course.
people who have certain money that want certain news to be given to certain people.
Mhm.
So that is really all about educating.
Mhm.
So it's really all about educating and spreading the message across and trying to get people to open their minds and get out of their stuck. There's getting out of their own way, basically. Sometimes we're stuck in our own way and we're like, wait a minute, it doesn't have to be that way, right? That's one way. There's so many other ways that things could
Mhm.
be.
So, question: if somebody were to go to DR, where do you think that they would get the best feel for the culture outside of necessarily? And I don't mean like where's the safest. I don't mean where's the best beaches. I mean, if somebody wanted to go and really experience Dominican culture for the things that you love and appreciate about it outside of the way the government, because my fear is I would go, and not to say that as long as I keep my mouth shut and don't move no type of wild ways, like that you wouldn't mistake me for somebody that's from there. But as soon as you make out that I'm American or that I'm not Dominican, then my fear is, okay, so where do you think I'm from and how are you going to treat me based on that? Because in my experience, as an American, when I tell you I've been surprised how many, like, it's funny because come Labor Day, every year, like, I'll be like, fuck it, I'm Haitian this weekend. It is what it is. And it's like, I didn't realize how many of my friends really thought I was Haitian all this time. It's like, no, I've never been Haitian ever. Pretty certain about that. But my fear is going someplace where I know they treat a certain demographic of people a particular way, and then being subject to that type of treatment while I'm trying to just enjoy a week and then make it home safely. So my question to you is, without having to, I guess not necessarily speak for the whole country, because it's like you're one Dominican. You can't
I'm,
speak for all of DR.
I'm gonna tell
But
you. So I'm gonna answer your question, and before I answer the question, I'm gonna provide an example and an experience that I had from what you're saying, because I never experienced that in DR, right? But I can answer your question. How would somebody would go there with that kind of fear, right? My answer to that is do your best to remove that fear. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. I went to Germany last year, and I've always heard that in certain parts of Germany, certain parts of Europe, if you're darker skinned, people judge you, or people, they consider you as black, so they're like racist or whatever. I hear that all the time. I hear that in the media all the time, right? But I really wanted to enjoy Germany, and I wanted to enjoy the sights, and I was not in a touristy area. I was in a small town, but I was just so impacted by the people. But guess what? Nobody spoke English because we're not in a tourist area, right? I'm in a small town, so everybody's local. Everybody's speaking their own language. So I'm just like, fuck, what am I gonna do, right? And so I went to a local cafe that I had been going for like 2, 3 days, and the lady was super nice, super sweet, right? But then I went into a supermarket, into a bakery to buy some bread, and the lady wasn't understanding me. And in that moment in time, I had a notion of like, well, I'm American. Everybody speaks English. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, people speak English. Even if it's a little bit, people speak English. That's what I had like in my head, right? Because we're in Germany. Germany is a big country. They weren't freaking speaking English. So I think I gave off kind of like that energy of you're
being
supposed to know.
entitled.
So yeah, you're supposed to know English, dude. Like, what's going on? You don't understand me? And she was just like ignoring me. She just ignored me, like, but not with an attitude. She just like pretend that I wasn't there because she couldn't understand me, and she was just like, like give no fucks, basically. That was the only time that I'm like, wait a minute, that happened to me right now. So you mean they're not gonna serve me because they don't understand me? And everybody's going about their business. So I had to reflect, and I had to tell myself, well, maybe maybe I should try to understand like how to say something in German so they can know that I'm trying, and I can kind of point to things like, being less entitled, right? Being a way of a loving way to that culture. That's my experience, right? Because that's the only time I've experienced like pointing fingers. But I've been traveling to so many countries, so many different places that treat people that have our kind of color, our skin color, in a quote unquote bad way. And I have never experienced like maybe people looking at me because I don't know, maybe the way I dress, like my tsitara or something, but not like never had a fear. I've never had a fear of somebody treating me bad. In fact, I acclimate to every place I go. I feel like I'm already from there. Like my body melts into the place, and I'm just like, well, I'm not gonna be flashy because if it's a place that I know it's safe, I'm gonna wear my jewelry, no problem. But I know, and I've experienced in DR, I got robbed in DR. I was walking with a cousin of mine. I was 12, 13 years old, and my cousin crossed the street with me. She didn't tell me anything, but she saw him kind of like looking at us, but didn't say anything because, Dominicans at certain point, they don't really communicate. They just do things. They don't tell you. They don't tell kids stuff. They don't talk they just do things, right? And then they explain. So when we're walking, I feel somebody kind of like tug my earrings from the back. I thought somebody was going to say hi to me. They literally tugged my earrings, went like, like in Park Avenue, how there's like in the middle of the street, there's like trees, how you could go to the other side of the street.
Kind of,
so
not really.
so on the sidewalk, on a New York City sidewalk, imagine somebody is riding on like a Revel on a moped, on a scooter. They get off and they go to like the store to buy something.
Okay.
Right? They have to come out of the store and get back onto the street and get back on the bike. Well, the freaking guy stole my earrings, broad daylight, bro. This is 2:00 p.m. Broad daylight, stole my earrings, ran to the moped with somebody who was waiting for him, and freaking jetted.
Got it.
You understand? I'm 13 years old, and that's normal. That's normal. Right? And so I was like, oh shit, this is real. Like, they really take shit from people. So I understood that, you know what, in DR, I'm not gonna wear my jewelry, I'm not gonna wear my rings, I'm not gonna wear none of that shit. I'm just gonna be me. I don't have to like be flashy or anything. Doesn't matter like whatever I look like, right? I am not flashy. Doesn't matter. They're not gonna fucking do anything to me. I'm just gonna be part of the country. Right? I'm gonna explore, I'm gonna see, I'm gonna go there for what I went. I'm not gonna go there with fear. Right? So what could somebody do? Easy. They could go to Airbnb.com, find the place that they want to stay at. I decided to stay close to the beach just because I love the beach. So I decided to stay. Like I always look at all the reviews in Airbnb. And in this particular place that I looked at, it's an apartment, luxurious apartment, 1 bedroom, balcony. You know, in DR, a lot of the apartments already look nice and they're very cheap. So this was like 10 minutes or 10 minutes from the beach by car.
Okay.
So I was staying at that Airbnb. That Airbnb was super safe. They had a lobby person in the bottom. So I'm in a neighborhood that I'm not gonna be walking around the neighborhood like fucking doing, looking around like a fucking tourist because it's a fucking danger. It's danger zone. But I am going to go to Airbnb, go to my place, get in a car, whether it's an Uber, because right now everything is so modern that is even more modern than I think. What I did is that I actually got a driver. I called somebody and I said, hey, I need somebody who's reliable that I can trust. And they got a friend, they got a cop, right? Somebody who's a cop during the daytime. And they took off and I paid him like freaking like $40 a day, bro. I think the total was like, I think I paid him 100 for the 3 days that I was there. I paid him like $180 or 4. I was there for 4 days and I was there and it was me and another person. So we split that by 2. So imagine, you know, you don't have to get a car, but I know that my dollar is worth a lot in DR. So I can just pay somebody freaking $40 a day to drive me around. You kidding me? To go to the beach, to stay with me at the beach for 5 hours, then to take me home. And it just yeah, you know, it's not like DK, it's not just a one trip thing. No, you're gonna stay with that person's gonna stay with you the whole day from like whatever 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. whatever time you want till 6 p.m. You just have to be a human and of course give them an opportunity to go eat. I paid for their food. Like we went to a restaurant, we ate in front of the beach. You know, they ate with me. Like it was just like beautiful. He took me to now because he's a local, and that's where like you can either. I get on buses wherever I go, but in Dominican Republic, I don't really recommend that because it's not safe right now. Right now, it's just not safe over there. So it's better for you to get on an Uber. It's cheap as fuck. It's like $4, $3, 10 or 7, whatever, to get to places. Just do that. If you want to get the even more local experience, you would have to know the language, because when you know the language, then you can ask like the local taxi drivers, and now you're gonna pay using the local currency, and now you're gonna pay what you will pay for a $10 Uber, you will pay literally $4 or $3 to an actual local person, and instead of giving them $2 or $3, you could give them like five, right? Which is a lot to them, and less than what you would pay in Uber. You know, like so if you know the language, you can go to the local corner or to get even a motorcycle, because in DR they use motorcycles to drive people around. It's faster. But I'm just saying that's an option.
Oh wait, somebody else would drive the motorcycle.
Yeah, like it's a motorcycle.
Okay, I'm cool with like being on a motorcycle. No, I just don't have the sensibilities to drive.
It's like a taxi line, but it's a motorcycle line.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and you pay them. I think it's even cheaper than a cab, because the cabs in DR sometimes are shared, right? So cabs sometimes go one route. Like let's say here they go all Broadway.
It was like that in Cuba. Yeah, it's like a dollar van.
Exactly.
A car.
Exactly.
Like so they got them up here.
So like a lot of people are actually working honestly anyway. So if we have that mentality that, of course, we got to be ready for anything. So if you got to have a little shank, you have a shank. But you know, have your mind open, and it's like, okay, no fear. Like they're gonna treat me like a daughter. Period. Everywhere you go, there's always fathers. There's always uncles, there's always aunts, there's always grandmas, grandpas. They may not be yours, but they're somebody else's. So you have to carry yourself like you are somebody's child. You feel me? And if you carry, at least that's what I do. When I carry myself like I'm somebody's child, like, you know what, hi, you're old lady. Well, guess what? I could be your granddad, your daughter. You know, you're a mom, you look like a mama, guess what? I could be your daughter. You're an old man, guess what? I could be your daughter. So don't even try looking at my titties. You feel me? Straight up. So once we kind of change our mentality, it don't even matter where we go. We just gotta understand, like, if we're gonna go to DR, you don't want to go into the neighborhoods that is like hot neighborhoods, right? You want to kind of go into the neighborhoods that are safer, that have gated communities, right? That have houses that they look well kept, houses that generally look well kept in good areas. There's probably very little robberies happening, you know? So that's what I would do if I wanted to go to DR, which I'm actually going in 2 weeks.
But you have family there. So I feel like it's a little different. Like your family is going to look out for you. Your family is going to, you know.
So yes. But I also went to Mexico. And unfortunately, and I'm going to be honest, because I fell into that when I had a negative perception of Mexico. And I did not.
Why?
Yeah. Because people are always talking about the violence and how people are always get stolen. And also, I really didn't like the food too much. Maybe the choices of that I made when I was there previously was not the best, because it just so happens I stayed in resorts. And so I did not really get that authentic experience.
What area were you in?
So like my first 3 times that I went to Mexico, I stayed at resorts.
No, but like, what were you in? Like Cancun? Were you in?
The first time I went to Cancun, or I don't know if it was the first or second, whatever. Then I went to Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta was very nice, and then I also went to Tulum.
Okay.
And all 3 places, like, they were nice and everything, nice climate, but like it was all resorts, because I was low-key scared. Like I was like, yo, these Mexican niggas gonna take me, don't eat my shit up. Like, they gonna fucking sell me some shit. That's really legit what was in my mind, my nigga. I'm not even playing. But it was because of the fucking media, my nigga, because I just went and I had the best time. And it was like, I literally got to my hotel, to my Airbnb at 11:30. I had to take all the knowledge that I had from my travels and say, okay, doesn't matter where I am. I'm hungry right now. What am I gonna do? Okay, find a local spot. Look in my bag, find some money. Even if it's dollars, find money. Doesn't matter what it is. Find dollars, find local currency. I already had 20 Mexican pesos, or like 40 Mexican pesos, because I got it from somebody in the airport. And so I went looking, and I saw my Google Maps. I saw something that's local, great reviews, open 24 hours or something like that, or open from like 7 p.m. to like 5 a.m. So I walked my ass from my Airbnb, careful, looking around, making sure that I had just my phone and my little money that I needed, my fanny pack. I'm nice and quick if I need to run, but that was not in my head. And it was fine. In fact, there was a security guard in front of a gate, and I kind of stopped. I was like, yo, what you doing there? He's like, my job. I'm securing the streets, making sure that you guys are safe. Are you kidding me? This guy was just sitting there. And I'm like, so you're there all night? He's like, yep. And he was like a fucking shadow, bro, like a ghost. But he was there. And I knew he was there because I was paying attention to my surroundings. You know, so Mexico, like I said, people have a negative.
What area was this in?
This was Cancun, but this wasn't in the hotel zone. This was in the city, like the bus. I took the bus every day, so the bus was passing through. This was work town area. Like I walked through that whole area for a few days. This was work town central. People getting their lunches, taking the bus, commuting, taking their kids to school, the whole 9 with their masks. It was a city, bro. It was like, I'm not in a hotel. I'm not in a tourist area.
You went recently.
Yeah. Bro, like September.
Okay.
End of August. Like I was the only person that looked like a tourist in that area. Because everybody was Mexican. So I had to really ground myself and say, okay, let me go find some food. I know nothing is going to happen to me. I'll be fine. And in fact, I was fine.
I don't know what it is about DR that stands out, because it's not like DR is the only country that has questionable, politics. But something, you know what it is? I think it's because I know that I've experienced like colorism from Dominicans in New York. And it's kind of like when like a white person treats me wild, it's just like I can never really necessarily identify where they're from to tie a home country to. But
Yeah.
it's, I think it's for me being a New Yorker and having had I guess less than positive experiences with some Dominicans is like I prefer the blacker ones because y'all are nicer to me. Not that the lighter ones are always trash. That's like, and I've had black folks just be like black Americans be trash to me as well. You know what I mean? So it's not that it is the light or the dark of it necessarily, but it's, I know that I have known folks that have gone there and had terrible fucking experiences with
Yeah.
police, their Haitian friends, or even if they didn't know the person, just firsthand witnessing
Yeah.
Haitians in general just being completely shit on
Yeah,
while over there.
it's really a tough position to be in because when you've had those experiences, I can see why defense would go up, right? I could
Yeah.
see why there would be fears. You
Because
know,
traveling in general doesn't scare me. I know how to deal with people not necessarily fucking with the kids. That's not new to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily feel like I appreciate your sentiment in terms of if you travel and carry yourself like you're someone's daughter, people tend to, or someone's child, like they can pick up on that. And it's not like, I feel as if I do carry myself like that when I travel. Like, I don't necessarily have any reservations or fears about going too many places in the world. But I'm really curious, and that's more like me having to do like self work and deep diving in terms of
yes,
why I have
100%.
particular apprehension about this one country in particular, knowing good and damn well that this ain't the only country that shits on people that live there. You know what I mean? But that being said, a good segue is you mentioned Mexico. And one of the things I definitely wanted to touch on with you is how Mexico will play a role in your future. So drop it.
When is this coming out?
This is Thursday.
I'm about to break the news.
Yeah.
News.
Yep.
God. Well, I want to say that God has given me clarity to be able to have courage, because for a long time in my life, I already knew that I wanted to just be different. Like I am different, but I wanted to really be it and feel it and embody it. And I
Stand in
wasn't.
it. Yeah.
I wasn't. It was just like I was watching myself kind of like, until I finally was able to say, okay, no, let me get into this body. Let me do some work. And I recently went to Mexico. Like I said, I had an amazing experience. I met the most amazing people, opened their heart to me. I met people who are kind, and I know people who are kind, but normally, and of course, this probably has to do with the people that I hang out with, like my life. Normally, I'm generally the kindest. And if not the kindest, I'm pretty kind in comparison to whoever I'm dealing with. Right. And I met people who are just,
Had you beat.
I was like, God,
they shit on your kindness.
My God. And I'm talking about like offering me their homes, offering me their beds, like giving me advice on life. And I happened to meet this gentleman and we spoke, and he said that he was born in Puerto Rico, raised in Pennsylvania until the age of like 9 or something. And then when he came to Mexico when he was like 20, right? He lived in Pennsylvania, but he said he didn't like it. He was going from job to job. And then he came with a girlfriend when he was like 23 or something. And they loved it. And then they kept coming back. And then eventually they decided to move together. Mm-hmm. And they decided to move to Mexico. Right? And so at this point, he had like some savings. So they put their savings together. They bought a house. And then he told me after 3 months, it didn't work. They had to break up. So I know. So then we were like, he's like, wait, no. it's the best thing that happened because that move to Mexico, right, helped him see like, wait a minute, I could live this life. Like I could be here. I could live here.
Right.
And so he was talking to me about back in the day when he came, which was 16 years ago. He said
60,
that
60 or
16,
16?
16,
Okay.
16. He said that he paid like $700 for a one bedroom apartment, you know, nothing like New York, my love. Like New York, think New York, $3,000, right? View of the city and a view of the ocean in this case, right? For $700. So I'm like, wait a minute. And he's like, at this point, it was like a studio, right? It was a studio with like a room. That's what they call over there. A one bedroom, they call it a studio. My God.
Excuse the fuck out of me. Okay.
Exactly. So I was like, wait a minute. So my God already gave me clarity. So now there's like, I had no fear. At that moment, talking to that man, there was no fear in my heart. So I'm like, wait a minute. Hold up. Right now, we're teaching remote. At this point, this is already September 2nd or something. So I'm actually already into my teacher week, meeting with teachers on Zoom, taking notes on my lessons, etc. So I'm already kind of working. So every day I'm working. Literally, I wake up, 6:30, see the sunrise, get some stretching in, and I have to wake up earlier because we are 1 hour. At that point, we were 1 hour behind. So when it was 9 in New York, it was 8 over there.
Okay.
Right. So I'm working, and I'm like, wait, I could do this life. And also, my love, I composed a song, which I haven't done in a year. So I'm composing a song, I'm doing my lesson, and I'm in front of the ocean. I'm like, these people are, every time they see me, they're like, where's the Dominicana? You need to sing your song right now. I was like, well, just like me pongo bien pacheca. And the rest is history. So I'm like, you know what? I started asking the God. I was like, God, I could do this. So I started asking people in that same place. There was like 7 people in the apartment. So I'm giving them the story about like my life. And I actually say, you know what? I'm thinking about moving here. And I'm like, does anybody know if there's an apartment available? And some guy at the table was like, I got you. And he started sending a message. 2 hours later, his friend sends me a picture of his penthouse. He's like, I'm a pilot. My wife is a flight attendant. And we're renting this place out for like $850, $900 a month. And it's gorgeous. So I'm like, yes, I'll take it. But then I was like, wait a minute. Stop. I actually stopped. And I said, okay. I was honest, first of all. So I let them know. I said, listen, I'm a teacher. And at that point, it was September. I didn't really know what was going to happen. I didn't know I definitely knew from September to December, we were going to be remote. Right. But I didn't know what things were going to look like. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to make plans for June because I don't know if in January, because that's like a nice cutoff time. January, I don't know if I'm going to have to go back. So I was honest and I said, listen, I might have to go back. I don't know when, but I'm committed to like staying here until I have to go back. And eventually they're like, okay, let's see. Let's keep talking about it. The next day I went to see the apartment. Oh my God. I was in it. I saw myself in the apartment. It was like state of the art, security guard. You have to put in a code to get into the house. You don't even have a key, baby girl.
Ooh.
You don't even have a key, baby girl. You put in your code to get into your crib, closet, walk-in closet, the bathroom. You have a whole terrace, not a balcony, maybe a terrace. Okay. And so I was like, yeah, this is my apartment. So I saw myself, visualized myself. And the lady hits me up the next day and she's like, hey, yes, yeah, we're going to rent the apartment to somebody who's willing to commit to a 6-month lease, who's going to even pay more than what you're going to pay. And at that point, since I had no fear in my heart, I said, you know what? It really hit me. It really hit me. I was so sad. But I was like, I had a tough time letting it go too. But I really had to pray and I had to push myself and say, God, that's it. Let it go. Stop thinking about it. You got this. This particular apartment is not for you. Don't worry about it. Go home, fix your stuff, get yourself together, and figure out when you want to leave. That's exactly what I did, baby. That's exactly what I did. I said, you know what? I got to think. Let me be careful. I have my apartment here in New York, which you guys don't know, but my baby Dana knows that I just got it. I just manifested the apartment. I got it. And I'm like, you know what? In life, sometimes you need to let go of what you love in order to break barriers, in order to do great things. And to me, that's how I saw it. That's the mentality that I just developed. I said, you know what? I love this place. I love this apartment. But if I need to give it up, I am going to give it up because I have an opportunity that it could be an opportunity of my lifetime. I can make it an opportunity of my lifetime. So I prayed and I said, you know what? This is I want to create what I want to create. And I was like, all right, I'm going to have somebody stay in this apartment while I go to Mexico so I don't lose the apartment. Because if I have to come back in June, it will be great for me to come back to this apartment or come back to a place where I don't have to be like in my parents. But I also said to myself, you know what, God, if you don't put anybody to stay with this place and care for this place, then I'll put all my stuff in storage, pay a storage $50 a month if I need to, $75 even, no problem with that. And I don't have to pay rent anymore. I'll just leave it and I'll go to Mexico and I will shoot for the stars. Whatever you want, God.
Right.
I messaged somebody in Mexico. You know, I was messaging people. I was looking at Airbnb, how long are the long leases. And I was like, hey, you know, if you know of an apartment, let me know. Okay, I'll let you know, etc. What are you looking for? I told them what I was looking for. I told them what happened with the other apartment. Baby girl. 7 days it took Jesus to create the world and to rest. 7 days later, she calls me, sends me a picture of an apartment. Beautiful, fully furnished. She's like, hi, yeah, this is the rent for the apartment. And I just want to let you know it's going to be available after January 1st. So you can move in if you want to. That was that. I kept it quiet because I was like, God, what you doing, God?
Yeah. Nigga.
we ain't even over, right? Because at this point now, I got a place, but I got to figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do with this place. Because now it's like a challenge, right? And I was like, okay, you really don't care? No, not that you don't really care. You really don't mind giving it up. Okay. Wait it. I put it on Facebook, put the video, shared it with my people. I got a few people interested. Everybody dubbed out. One person told me, let's talk next month because I want to consult with my boyfriend.
Okay.
We're talking. At this point, I already got the message from the person saying that the apartment is available after January 1st. I think I don't know if it was exactly a week. I hope it was a week just because, know what I'm saying? 7, baby. But my love, I got a text message, long ass paragraph. I just want to let you know that I thought about it and I spoke about it with my boyfriend and we decided to commit and we decided to move into the apartment by the time you're going to leave.
Come on, alignment.
Just like that. So I was in shock. I was so in shock I didn't even respond to the message. I was just like, I had to take a second. I started cleaning, right? I was like, okay, let me be responsible, right? Let me be
proactive and get everything ready.
Let me be.
Start putting shit in storage or,
So I'm sorry. So the next day she questions. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was just in shock because I prayed for this. Like I prayed for this and I was willing to just, you don't know, like I'm just in shock. Like 3 days later she came and I was like, cause she's helping me with a project. We're working on a project together. And I gave her the keys. I said, here, this is your apartment, walk around so you could see, so you could get the feel, you could get the vibe. And it was just a vibe in here of like, I'm passing down, like, this is for you, treasure. Now you're going to treasure it. You're going to now create this space and you're going to create it with your magic. And so I'm out, baby girl. I'm going to buy a one-way ticket. I'm gonna go to Mexico now in November to visit another part of Mexico. I'm going to go to La Ciudad de Mexico, to the city and to Mexico City. And I'm also going to stop at the place. I'm going to see the apartments. I'm going to talk to the gentleman, give him my information. I'm going to give a half a deposit. And I'm going to buy a one-way ticket to away. I'm going to leave like the 28th, 27th, get an Airbnb because the apartment won't be available until literally January 1st. And go to the beach for the turn of the new year.
I am so fucking excited for you because I
Yeah.
remember you really were like, I'm doing this, I'm out, I'm going, this is it, and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, a couple days later, it was just like, okay, so procedures, practices, what am I putting in place, and how am I going to do this? So now that you are committed, you've got someone coming in, you've got a plan for your going out. What can you suggest to someone that wants to do the same? For someone that wants to move out of the country, for someone that, in particular Mexico, because what my only familiarity with moving out of the country to Mexico is that you have a 6-month tourist visa. You don't need any other kind of provisions in, you can stay there for the most part for 6 months without having to do anything extra. You can stay there as a tourist and you're working remotely. So you are still employed as a US citizen, like in the United States. However, you don't, so for all intents and purposes, you don't need to get a job in Mexico because you're working remotely. So what did you learn in that process between the first attempt to move out with the first apartment and, the initial experience you had? What did you learn between the two? And what kind of advice can you give to someone who is looking to actually make the move out of the country?
You mean the first move that I moved in May here in my house?
No. The first time that back in September, after you were looking at that initial apartment and in your communication with the guy that was saying, um, we're going to go with someone that is able to commit to 6, like in this entire process from September experience to, where we are now on November 3rd, what kind of, I guess, advice can you offer about moving to Mexico from the United States based on your experience so far?
Well, this is the thing. I'm a different kind of breed. And and I met these people because I was invited. I met one person on the beach. I was tanning nude. I met this person on the beach. I said, I do not want to talk to you right now. I'm just tanning. I'm enjoying the beach. Please leave me alone. But they wanted to talk. They needed to talk. They needed somebody to listen to them. So I said, okay, no, sit down. We spoke. This person,
Did they actually say that? Did they say, I just need somebody to talk to right now?
they're like, I don't know what to do right now. I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling broken. I'm just like, I just need somebody to talk to right now. So I said, okay, sit down. Let's talk. I had to force put on my.
This is topless or nude
Yeah, this
or
is
completely
topless.
nude?
This is topless. And then
Okay.
he's like, he's a grown man, 50 years old. He's like, can you get dressed? Because I don't want you to like just get dressed, please. So I was like, okay. So I got dressed.
Very strange, but continue.
You know what? It is actually not, right? It is actually a normal interaction, right? I'm tanning nude where I'm tanning. I happen to not have a top. This person wants to speak. This is a human, right? This
Mm-hmm.
person wants to speak. They're feeling like they cannot. They're feeling like, overflowing water, overflowing cup
Mm-hmm.
of
I
water,
hear you.
right? And they're saying, can you cover your breast? Because I actually want to speak, but I don't want you to think that I'm sitting here talking to you because you have your breasts out. To me, believe it or not, that's pretty normal because like my breasts are out. You cannot like hide the elephant in the room.
Right.
So his purpose was to actually speak. So he, instead of like continuing to speak and ignoring the fact that my breasts are, he's actually playing the respectful role. And it's like, yo, if you don't mind, please cover your breasts because I actually want to speak.
But why? I mean, granted, I know you personally, so I know that you've got that kind of electric kind of personality where I could see maybe you think it's normal because in your experience of yourself and the way people interact with you, that random strangers want to come up and just share their life story with you. But in my mind, I'm like, I already said no, I don't want to talk. Two, I don't understand how you, a complete stranger, just absolutely needs to talk to me of all people. So
So
your relative normal is relative, and
okay,
that's not my
so
idea of normal.
so normal is relative, right? Okay, fine. Normal is relative. To me, I was the only person in that area. To me,
Okay.
if another person is talking to me, another human, I've been somebody who I've judged before a lot.
Hmm.
Like
Fair, we all have.
no,
Nobody
and
can
and
sit,
and we
nobody
and we do,
listening can
and we
say they
still do
haven't.
sometimes, right? I still do sometimes without like knowing subconsciously. When I'm aware that I'm making a judgment about anything, I'm like, whoa, 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 stop, 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 and I come back.
Hmm.
But at that point, I really was one with nature. And I was like, you know what? There was literally no judgment there. It was just like, okay, this human, that tastes good. This human is talking to me, and I'm hearing I'm actually listening to what this human is saying, right? I'm not really focused on like, I told you I don't want to talk to you. I'm me, right? At that moment, I was just like, okay, I heard somebody in need. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Somebody in need. It just so happens that I happen to be nude bathing, but I could have been sitting down reading a book. Same concept.
Hmm.
Same
Hmm.
concept. It's just that I happen to be in that particular position experience.
I think in this instance, it may have just been context,
Yeah,
because
yeah. It's just
I'm
context.
hard pressed for a situation where I can encounter someone that is just like, I have to talk to you, I have to talk to you. I'm just like, but again, it made sense in the moment to you. But go ahead.
Right. So this person is just like he made that statement. He made a statement of desperation. He didn't say I have to talk to you. He didn't say to you. He said I just need to talk to somebody because I feel. And then he expressed how he was feeling. And I've
Okay.
been in that position of feeling that way. So I said, you know what, sit your ass down. Let's talk. You know. So we speaking for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. He said, would you like to come to my house? which which in this case, just listen, right? And so you can have a picture and a view of where we are. So picture, have you been to Cancun?
No, haven't been to
Okay.
Mexico yet. I was supposed to go to Mexico City, but my flight in Peru, I had the bombest layover. When I tell you I was supposed to arrive at 6 a.m. in Mexico City, and I wasn't leaving until like 8:30 p.m.
Oh,
Sis,
that's
like
good.
I had all the plans. I was not this close, but this close. I hope you're watching on the YouTubes, folks. This close to booking an excursion, like exploring the Mayan ruins and everything from Mexico City. I was gonna had it all set up. Thankfully, I didn't book. And when I got to the desk, because the kiosks were not an option for checking into this flight, they were like, "Hey, girl, so yeah, your flight's delayed like 9 hours."
Damn.
So my layover in Mexico went from like 14 hours to a smooth, like unusable. Well, granted, 5 hours is somewhat usable, but
No, it's not,
my
nigga.
window,
It's
it
not,
just
nigga.
wasn't
Yo,
like,
FYI, guys, FYI, 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours layover sounds like a lot. It's not.
it's not.
It takes you
It's
an hour
not.
to get to the airport, probably takes you an hour to get out and go to where you want to go. So just so you know.
Right. So yeah, my Mexico. I've never been to Mexico other than the
Well,
airport.
so can just think of a resort. Think of a resort or think of a residential building in front of the beach,
Okay.
right? And the back entrance is to the front of the beach, of course. And if you live in that building, then you could just go home through the security access door. Can you
Okay.
kind of, right? That's where I was. So I was instructed to go to the left side of the beach, which is the public side where the hotels were. But I went to the right side of the beach because I saw there was nobody there. And I knew that I wanted to tan and not have any tan lines. And I didn't really want to be like bothered. I really didn't want to really
Hmm.
speak to anybody. I just wanted to be. So when I expressed to this gentleman, I said, I don't want to talk to you at the moment because I'm just tanning. Then he made that statement. We spoke. He's like, you want to come upstairs? And he pointed. He literally pointed. He's like, that's where I live, right there. We could go through the security. Like, you need a code to get in. It's just very, very secure. Again, at that point, like I'm telling you, I was just being one with nature. I had no fear about anything. I said, okay, sure, let's go. Because we're already talking for 40 minutes in the sand with the wind. So we go upstairs, the most beautiful apartment that I have ever seen with my eyes, right? Because I seen on TV, of course.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, and it was just the experience that I have on my vision board. I just want to kind of like, I want to I'll show you. I'm going to bring it to you. Let me bring it to you so you can see what I'm talking about.
And I'm not even going to sit here in front like I haven't done like some ridiculous shit
So
based on
it sounds
intuition.
ridiculous, right? But it's actually not. So check this out, my YouTube people. You see this beautiful space here?
Yeah.
This is a gorgeous living room. I would want to be in this living room, in this couch anytime.
Right, with that view.
You understand? And so I walked into a place that looks like that. Maybe it wasn't that view because it wasn't the view of the city because I was in front of the ocean. So it was the view of the ocean. Excuse me. You know?
Excuse the fuck out of me. Yeah. So go ahead.
With that being said, through this person and I ended up staying in that place my entire trip for 2.5 weeks.
You stayed there?
I stayed there. And we're not even going to get to how I stayed there because that's not the point of the story, right? The point of the story is to let you know that through this one person, I met like 4, 5, 6 different people that I networked with and that they love my music and they just love my energy. And because of that fearlessness, right? Because of that courage, because of me being myself and trusting my instinct, right? Hey, if this guy was freaking dirty and disgusting and stinky, I probably wouldn't go with him. Right. You know, probably wouldn't go with him. And I know that there's
and that is also to note that applies not just to the physical, but to the felt.
Yes,
world.
The energy.
Like you have to be able to trust your intuition.
Right. And
because granted, I just want people that are listening to be clear that even though like someone can be filthy, dirty, and disgusting in actual literal appearance, they can be pure of heart or pure of intention and express that to you. And it can also be, you know, the opposite, where someone can appear and literally be in the flesh very clean and orderly, but then they have a very disgusting aura. And then I also will note that not everybody is very in tune with their intuition in that sense, or feels as secure trusting or listening to how their spirit directs them in terms of their interactions with people. So that's just a little caveat, a little disclaimer that I know you're listening to what we're saying, but also feel what we're saying, that you have to kind of consider that some people are just more comfortable trusting their intuition, and in certain situations things just make sense, things just feel good or don't feel good. So that being said, like, hear her out.
And I want to piggyback off of that. There have been times in my life where I have missed opportunities because I have been scared, right? Because I'm not in tune with my intuition. I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't go, but not because I'm scared, but because I'm actually scared of my power, because I'm actually scared that I'm going to actually be as great as I think that I am, right? That's really what it has always been with me. But when I was able to start doing the work with myself and start understand who I am, I'm like, you know what? This is not for me personally. This is not a scary situation. So I'm going to just be with it, you know, and that's it, you know? And so through that, I met these people and I met more people and more people. And I started singing for more people. And now I have a network of people who cannot wait for me to get there. And I'm just in awe. And that came from that one choice, right? And that interaction of me saying, you know what? I trust who I am, right? I trust who I am. And I know that like I'm a woman and I'm going to respect myself 100%. Let the person that I'm speaking to, whether it's a woman or a man, know that I respect myself so they don't try to come up on me because nigga, I'm from New York, right? But I don't need to do that because like I told you earlier, I'm somebody's daughter. I'm
Hmm.
somebody's granddaughter. I'm somebody's niece. I'm somebody's aunt. So you need to respect me as such. I'm a daughter of God. So you can't hurt me. If you hurt me, you're hurting yourself.
Hmm.
Straight up. And I feel like after I've been emitting that aura, people really like, I kind of feel like if people are trying to like be mean to me or say something that's hurting me, it's really all about them. It's really
Yeah.
all about them. It's just like I feel it, and sometimes I do get sad. I'm just like, damn, why this person is kind of like being this way? But it's not me. It's
Hmm.
them.
Yeah. I've learned that in a lot of situations with work in particular. And I like to remind people, don't take it personal. People already come into, they walk through these doors with their own lives. How they respond to you within 7 seconds of meeting you has absolutely nothing to do with, I don't want to say absolutely, generally has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. They have their own shit going on. And the majority of the time, when people respond in a certain way to you, it's because of them and their head and not anything to do with you. And that's something to remember in terms of anywhere in the world. People are always going to be people, regardless if they're German, regardless if they're Dominican, if they're American, if they're
People are always
French, if they're
gonna be people.
Ecuadorian, if they're fucking Czech. They are going to be people and people
People.
will people you. And if you can look at things, now granted, there are cultural norms and cultural differences that will come into play. But if you just remember to treat people the way you treat people, thank you, then that can easily carry into ease in a lot of different areas.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think that not that I think that I'm actually very grateful that you spoke so candidly about your intuition in this and spoke highly of being yourself. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I don't think gets, or at least in my experience of, I guess, travel mediums. I think that realizing and honoring what you bring to this situation gets dismissed a lot. A lot of people place some type of emphasis on, oh, when you go here, consider this. And when you go here, look at this way. When you go here, take this in and observe this. But how are you experiencing, like, what are you
How are
bringing?
you being? How are you being?
Exactly.
Right? How are
How are
you
you
being?
treating the people? What are you bringing to this situation that is dictating or um, calling on
Impacting.
X amount
Impacting.
of, yeah, impacting
Yeah.
the response that you're getting from other people? Are you being that uppity American that expects everybody to just speak English wherever you go? Or are you entering the situation with grace? Are you entering the situation realizing that you're in somebody else's fucking house and maybe you should have a little more decorum or a little bit more
Yes.
patience in terms of not necessarily assuming that people should, cater or understand you per se based on the fact that, well, it's English. Everybody speaks English. You know what I mean? So that being said, um, what kind of things are you putting in place so that you can, I want to say, thank you. So you can you pass me my charger, please? So that you can, yeah, Binksy too would like to know. Y tú también. Um, what things are you putting in place so that you can live or be yourself while being outside of your normal? Like once you get to Mexico, like considering that everything came into place because of who you are and you were able to create these connections being yourself. It's not like you had an agency in place that you contacted and reached out to for accommodations. You didn't go to this website or that website and get X, Y, and Z taken care of by filling out this form, and you know what I mean? So you've been able to find all of this organically in your in your travels as is. That being said, what are you doing so that when you arrive in this beautiful home that you've manifested in another country to bring ease and joy and peace to your life as you are educating these babies of New York? What type of things are you considering to make it a smooth transition for you once you arrive? Like, so you can't necessarily teach people how to be as dope and fly as you are, or as connected to intuition as you are, because that's just something that is, unique to you in your personality and your disposition. But in your experience, as you've been going through this process of, preparing yourself to make the move, what kind of things have you noticed that you can bring to other people's awareness so that they have a very easeful transition?
Well, to be honest, yes, I am uniquely me, but I had to learn how to be with me. And
Mm.
I learned how to be with me through an amazing workshop called Momentum. And I always mention Momentum because Momentum changed my life.
That's where we
And
met.
yes, that is where we met.
LT 171.
Oh, we
We
get
get
shit
you
done.
done. But go ahead, go ahead. I'll let you
I
finish.
always get, you know, emotional because Momentum really gave me the awareness that I need to know I have all the tools.
Mm-hmm.
I am a toolbox, right? It's not like, okay, I got to go to the hardware store. I got to get a toolbox. No, I am a toolbox. Momentum showed me how to use a hammer. I had a hammer, but if I don't know what to do with it, like,
right,
it doesn't matter, right? So Momentum showed me, hey, you know what? You're a toolbox. These are all the tools, and the tools come from your life. The tools come from our own life. So Momentum showed me that my tools that I have are equipped from the moment that I am born, right? And so I have been able to use those tools, use the exercises that I learned in that workshop to be with me.
mm-hmm.
And, those things involve getting grounded. And I mean, meditation, right? Meditating and being in silence. I don't know how long you guys can be in silence for, but for example, today I was washing the dishes, and normally I would listen to music or I would watch a show, but I decided not to. I said, you know what? I'm just going to be with the silence of the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I practice kind of like using, sometimes there are thoughts in my head about things. And so one thing I learned about mindfulness and about being aware is kind of like looking at those thoughts like you're an observer and just watch them go. So watch them go. And so as I'm doing the dishes, I start like looking at certain things like an onion or a knife, and it reminds me of certain things. And I then start thinking about maybe that person, and I start thinking about an experience with that person. And I'm like, wait, stop. And I have to literally take a breath and focus on what I'm doing. Say, okay, I'm washing the dishes. And being present. Being present has really helped me stay with me, right? Being present with what I'm doing at the moment. Because when I'm being present, I can tell how I am being, right? And sometimes I'm moving too fast. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed. So if I'm present and I'm aware of how I feel, I can say to myself, okay, right now I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. Let me see why. And I can communicate that with other people. So I can let them know, hey, look, this is how I'm feeling. So I need either space or I need you to help me with something. So one of the things that I learned in Momentum is how to communicate how I'm feeling. When I communicate how I'm feeling to people, people tend to be more empathetic and people, or sympathetic, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, people tend to have, not sympathy, no, people tend to have empathy. Even if they don't know what I'm feeling, they feel for me because I'm being vulnerable. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Yeah. Right now I'm feeling overwhelmed. So if I'm aggressive, please forgive me. Something like that. I also have been being very aware of taking care of myself and taking care of my space and taking care of my family. And I feel like that has been giving me a peace and a clarity that I have been needing, because I'm going to be in this other country right now, right? And what I'm going to do in this other country is basically the same thing I'm doing here, right? I'm going to take care of myself physically, mentally, spiritually. I'm going to take care of the space, which is the physical apartment. I'm going to continue to teach because that's what I do for my labor, and I love to teach. And I'm also going to do music, which is what I love to do. You know, I'm gonna have the climates, the tropical climate, the ocean right in front of me, the city under me. Everything is
Mhm.
under me. I can literally just go downstairs, get what I need. I can send
Yeah.
somebody, get what I need. I don't even have to clean because I can pay somebody to clean. So I no longer have to do some of the things that I'm doing right now because I'm telling myself, you know what, this will help me build discipline for the countless photo shoots and the countless hours of studying and the countless hours of reading a monologue and the countless hours of actually planning my lesson. Right, I'm
Yeah.
mentally preparing myself so when I get there, I know, you know what, I'm not no longer have to be cleaning. So let me dedicate time and energy to cleaning my space now, right? To building discipline, building
Mhm.
clarity, right? And building good habits because I have some habits that are not the best, like watching a lot of TV. And I
Mhm.
notice that when I sit and sometimes I literally sit in my chair and I kind of sink in, I cross my legs, I start putting the next show and not sometimes even 3 hours pass by.
Mhm.
And that's one of my areas of growth right now. My area's growth is understanding, okay, I'm being present. Oh, 1 hour of TV, that's way too much. Turn it off. I turn off the TV, take the control, put it in the kitchen,
Mhm.
and set up my space. I legit gotta do that. I gotta do that because
Mhm.
I know that having the control next to me does not work.
Okay.
So I'm putting things in place so that when I get to Mexico and I know that I'm in a new place, I know I'm not gonna have the time that I spend now to go to see my family. I'm not gonna spend that time doing that anymore. So I gotta be mindful and say, okay, what am I gonna be doing in Mexico? Well, I'm gonna be meeting a lot of people. I'm gonna be working on my music and I'm gonna be performing my music. Let
I
me
was about
tell
to
you.
say, I hope you are taking advantage of the
Are you kidding me?
opportunity.
The first thing I did was tell the people, hey, do you think you could hook me up with singing at any live places? And they were like, done, done. And I'm going even further than that. I'm going to even to TV.
Oh,
I'm going to meet with the president of the network of Channel 47 because I'm not playing any games. You hear me? It's gonna
especially
happen.
considering there's such a large Black expat community of Americans that are over there now. I feel like you can absolutely do your English songs there, and even if it's like you've got the, I don't want to say the best of both worlds, but you've got
Yo, I got
both
the
of
sauce.
those.
I got the sauce.
Well, that given,
I got the sauce.
but you also have both demographics. You've got your English
Yes.
speaking and you've got your
Yeah.
Spanish speaking. It's like
That's
it's
why I'm
right
thankful
here
for that.
in front of you, as
I'm
opposed to
thankful for that.
performing in front of an audience that only speaks English and having a small pocket of that demographic understand what you're saying in Spanish. Now you've
Yeah.
got the opportunity to
To do both.
like reach both in more
Mm-hmm.
of an equal setting, in terms of, even if you were to perform majority in Spanish, the English speaking population that's there is more willing to be receptive to it because they are in a Spanish speaking country, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to you going to an English bar or an English, lounge, or an English speaking
Mm-hmm.
location in general, where
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people can be, oh, you're not speaking English, okay, so you're not speaking to me. Whereas no, this is art, this is performance. I'm speaking to everyone, but I feel like people tend to be a little, depends on the demographic, depends on where you're going. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to a New York Poets Cafe, or if you're going to some place where you have more of a like just a creative audience, or
Right. Yeah.
an audience of people that are open to being receptive to other to mediums that they may not necessarily be used to. But all that being said, yeah, I'm really excited to see what you're able to accomplish while you're out there.
Thank you. I am also excited. I've been reading the Bible and I've
Hmm.
been like just being with God and I feel filled with the Holy Spirit. I feel like I cannot lose. There's
No,
not like I cannot
no.
lose. There's not even a there's not a chance. Everything has been put in place for me to win and succeed. You have like incredible, incredible, incredible. And even in the challenges, right? I'm welcoming the challenges. I'm actually a little like I don't know, like whenever I meet a challenge, I'm like, okay, God, okay, I'm ready. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm ready.
It's an opportunity to grow. That's
it's
it.
an opportunity. So I'm just, I'm just excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for big changes and big moves. And speaking of big changes and big moves, let's talk about you for a second. Let's talk about you for a second.
Binksy looking at me. Yeah.
How does it feel, my sister? How does it feel to, first of all, be in a relationship?
I know you was gonna do that shit.
Right? How does it feel to not only be in a relationship, be in a new relationship, and not only be in a new relationship, how does it feel to make plans with your new bae to go to a different state? I want to know how that feels. I want to know how it feels to make that move.
So first of all, fuck you. With love, you know? Even the dog was like, yeah, bitch, so how you feel? Right. So Binksy's like, right. So how we feel? It feels great. It really does. It feels fucking incredible. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm very, 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 very happy. Um, so I guess what I will say is, so here's a little moment of, I don't know if it's necessarily vulnerability, but a moment of me sharing a personal story. So if you guys listen to like every episode of every week, you'll know that last year my grandfather passed away. He passed on October 30th, 2019. And my grandfather passed surrounded by family. You know, he went into hospice, but came home for hospice. So when he died, he was surrounded by his family. And I'll never forget, I was washing the dishes when he transitioned. And so when we realized he had passed, I had to finish washing the dishes. That was just important. I just felt like I have to finish. Like the dishes have to be done. I have to finish. But after I finished the dishes, so I went to go be, with him. And so I sat on the floor and I held his hand. And so he's gone and I'm holding his hand and I am sitting and I'm looking under his bed and there's a quarter. So I pick up the quarter and on the quarter it says unity and freedom. And it very much so represented everything that had just transpired. Like my grandfather was surrounded by his family, and he was able to peacefully transition and be free. Like he wasn't suffering anymore. He wasn't in pain. And, it happened. And so I'm looking and, like the quarters go by states, like there's state quarters. And so I flipped it over and it was Vermont. It was Vermont's fucking quarter. So I'm like, I guess a nigga gotta go to Vermont. So, yeah, I started dating an incredibly gorgeous person who happens to also just be a nice person, a good person. And I'd mentioned that I wanted to go to Vermont. And a couple days later, he sends me a bunch of listings and was like, which one do you want to stay at?
So when did y'all meet? When did you guys meet?
Bro, like, really? Like, we doing that? Like,
we doing that. We doing that, nigga. I told you I was nude talking to a man. You're like, I told you I want to talk to you. So yeah, bye. We doing that. So
I met him, not long ago,
How long?
Like a short amount of time. Like niggas is,
Like what do you call a short amount of time? Like you call a short amount of time like a week, you call a short amount of time like a month, you call a short amount of time like 3 months or like 6 months.
I call a short amount of time like a year. So yeah, it hasn't been even a year. We met a while ago, and in a very short amount of time, we're taking our first couples trip.
How does that
And
feel? How does that feel to, in retrospect, right? Because yes, you've known each other for, a small amount of time, but in retrospect, it's a tiny bit of time in comparison to your life, right?
right, of course, everything is a short amount of time. I've known you for a tiny bit of time in
Yeah.
retrospect to my entire life. You know what I mean? And we've known each other for, longer than
Mhm.
I've known my boyfriend.
Yes,
So
but I ain't your boyfriend and we ain't going to Vermont. So my question to
but I would
you,
absolutely come visit your ass in fucking Mexico, bitch. So there's that.
you
But
already know, you already know. Woo!
there's that. How does it feel? I do have my apprehensions. I do worry that I'm making rash decisions or poor decisions. But at the same time, the same way that you trust your intuition, the same time that you've developed your intuition as a traveler to know what feels good and what feels wrong and to kind of get a feel for what's going to work for you, I trust that my intuition is leading me in the right place. Like
And
he feels very safe, he feels very secure. And I've not ignored all of the moments in my mind where I'm like, yo, this is fucking wild. This can't be real. No, it's a fucking gist.
my question is, what is so wild? What is so wild about, so what you're talking about, it is the traveling, right, to Vermont, to a place that is actually meaningful to you because of
Yeah.
what you just shared, which is even like crazier, right? How do you feel about going to this special place,
Mm-hmm.
with this person? And like, why is that thought arise, right? That's my question, right? Where does the thought of this is crazy, like, oh my god, where does that thought arise? Like, where does that come from?
That
Because
comes
of
from
the
not
time that you
trusting
guys
myself.
met, the time that you guys
God bless
met,
you.
or like,
Okay.
what does it come from?
It comes from not trusting myself.
Oh,
Period.
okay. Not
It comes
trusting
from not
yourself
trusting
anymore.
that I would make good decisions because, as history would have it, I haven't. I mean, I won't say obviously because it's not obvious to a lot of people, but like I don't necessarily have the best relationship track record. So
Okay,
it
okay, okay. So basically, what you're saying is that for you, traveling, first of all, traveling is a big deal. Traveling tells you,
right.
hello.
I've been traveling solo because I haven't had anybody to go with. Like the impetus for me to start traveling was the idea of, I'm not going to wait for anybody anymore.
Right,
I
right.
was waiting for partners. Like I've had boyfriends in the past where it's just like, oh, let's go here, let's go here. We're looking at this and I'm doing all the work and I'm finding this place. And
It's
I'm like,
not
what
fun.
about
That's
that?
not fun. That's
And
not
it's
fun.
just like, yeah, whatever you want, babe, whatever you want. And then that whatever you want turns into, oh, well, let's wait until, or when I can, or if I
No,
get.
no.
And so it's just
God.
like, okay, hear you. Got it. Copy. Loud and clear. Same thing with friends. All right, yeah, I want to go. I want to go. Let's do this. Let's do that. And you start pulling links together. You start pulling stuff
But
together.
then
And
at
then
the
it's
end of the
like,
day, when it comes time to book,
everybody's like, oh, I got this, and blah, blah, blah. And then also, the majority of my friends are married or have children or both. So I realized that a lot of the friends that I would love to travel with, one, live out of state, or two, have children that they have to provide for and have to make, accommodations for. And the same thing for like their partners. You know what I mean? Like you got a whole ass husband that you can't necessarily just be like, all right, yeah, I'm out. So
so
it's like I've always kind of been like that single childless friend. And after a while, it was just like, all right, I'm ready to fucking go. And I just, had the disposable income at a certain point, which is like, so I'm out. And it's not that I have never had the desire to travel with other people. It's just that I've done so much in my life on my own. Like I've lived alone since
so
a year after graduation.
so so what I'm hearing is that, from what I
Don't
hear,
momentum me. Don't fucking momentum me.
is
This
that
episode is mad long, B.
in the past you had some experiences, and this experience right now to me sounds pretty magical. Like, it sounds like everything is going the way you would ideally want it to go. So that can be
Mm-hmm.
fucking scary. And to me, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds, I don't know if you don't trust yourself. I think you trust yourself. Straight up. Like, I think you trust yourself. I
In
just
some
think that,
situations,
I just
not
think
in
that,
love.
like, you, like, Yeah, because it's scary. Because it's scary to be vulnerable, and it's scary to give yourself to somebody, because that's what you're doing. You're basically giving yourself, you're offering yourself to somebody, physically,
Yup.
mentally, all of that. And you're now going to a different place, so
Mhm.
that's a big deal. And it's not even about going to a different place because you could travel with anybody. I'm talking about going to Vermont, which is a special place for you and for your grandfather. That is all scary. So it's like a scary sandwich, because you're going to a special place with somebody who is fucking handsome as a motherfucker. And with somebody who values you and treasures you and is nice to you, right? You're doing all of that with a record of, like you're saying, of those experiences. So
Okay.
one thing I could say is like, maybe if you kind of like sit with yourself and look at those experiences as an observer, because that's what I learned in these past few months. I actually learned that from A New Earth, which is a book by Edgar Tolle.
Okay.
And in iTunes, or I think in the iPhone, there's like a podcast app, and you
Mhm.
can also listen to that book. And in that book, there's a lot of pointers that really has helped me in being aware with letting go of like past experiences. Like if I haven't been responsible with work or something, it's kind of like, well, in the past, no, forget about the past. What are we doing right now? And how are you being right now with this information? And I think that this is freaking magical, and I cannot wait to see the pictures of all the spots that you go to, because you're not only going to go visit this place and explore as a veteran, or I want to say as an experienced traveler, you're going to now be in romance. And I feel like when we're in romance, my sister and my brothers and sisters that are listening and watching, we need to make the choice to either be open or closed. And
Mhm.
normally, when we make the choice of being closed and being reserved, or like having fear because of the things in the past, we tend to miss out on amazing opportunities. So I feel like you do trust yourself. I feel like I feel like you have to kind of like let go of those experiences and understand that you are a different person than you were yesterday. So
Right.
let alone when those experiences took place. And same with me. And like I said to you earlier, I'm not only talking to you, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait. I cannot wait to just see and hear about this amazing trip with model Beck. You heard?
Yes, thank you for that. And so, yes, heads up, next week is going to be a remote episode. The kid gonna be in Vermont. I'm really excited about that because I don't know if y'all have picked up on my past trips, but I'm a very outdoorsy kind of motherfucker. A nigga likes the outdoors. I like hiking. I like woods and
You're
trees
fun.
and
You're fun.
um, like random lakes and ponds, and I just like being outside. As much as I'm a city girl and love like that there's a corner store or a gas station or someplace that 24 hours a day I can pick up anything I need. I also like quiet. I'm looking forward to, less light pollution so I can see the stars. I love everything celestial. I love all things about the night sky. And I'm really looking forward to experiencing that. Um, but not just, for myself, but with somebody that, I really care about. So
That's
that is going to
that's
be
awesome.
new for me. So,
And
yeah,
most importantly, not only somebody you care about, but somebody who is giving you reciprocal
yeah,
care. That's even more important, because you can go somewhere with somebody you care about, but when they're not showing that same care, it kind of like feels like you're getting the short end of the stick.
it
But
diminishes the experience.
when you go somewhere, when somebody is rooting for you and somebody's pushing you and somebody's just giving you light, that is magic.
Yeah. So he does that. So fuck you for that, for bringing it up. Appreciate you. Where can the people find you?
The people can find me on Instagram. My hashtag is Danays World. That's DANAYS World. And you can find me on
Not
YouTube as
hashtag
well.
your username or their profile name.
Yeah, it's the same. Danays World.
Yeah, but you said your hashtag. Well, I mean, I'm certain you have a
Oh,
hashtag
I'm
also,
sorry.
but yeah,
No, I meant my handle.
there we
I
go.
meant my handle. Hey guys, I'm a 90s baby, okay? I use pencil and a notebook, okay? So, you can find me on YouTube as well under Danays World. And you can also find me on Spotify. You can find me on iTunes. You can find me on Amazon Music, on Google Music. You can find me on Tidal. And I'm under Danays. That's my name, Danays. And yeah, you can also find me in the streets of Mexico and in the streets of DI, in the streets of
Right.
New York. You can find me in Italy. You can find me in Spain. Maybe I'm in London. Who knows?
Because you've been everywhere. You've been so many places. And I'm excited to, I mean, Loki, I hope you stay in Mexico for a bit because I intend
My
to
sister,
have
pull
somewhere for you to
up.
visit. You know
My
what I mean?
sister,
Yeah,
listen
yeah,
to me.
yeah.
Listen to me. I got a couch in the room. I got a bed in the room. I got a couch in the living room. I got a couch in the terrace. Pick where you want to sleep, baby girl.
Right. Good day. Put me on the terrace. You know what I mean? I don't need much. But the nice world, the nice, my love, my friend, my sister, thank you for chatting with me. I appreciate our I always appreciate our conversations. I truly do. I always and truly wholeheartedly do. But I appreciate you chopping it up with me for the podcast and for really impressing upon the people how important it is to be intentional and to be present with yourself as you're traveling. And I've harped on it for a while, but I can absolutely appreciate you saying the same thing, but differently. You know what I mean? Because I think this episode, you really spoke to how important it is to really listen to yourself and to honor yourself in all the different places that you show up in, and to show up as yourself in all of these different places. And you're proof to source as to how really being present in yourself and honoring who you are in these locations can manifest what it is you're actually like really going for and what you desire. And I can't wait for you to move. I can't wait for your sub lieutenants to move in. I can't wait for you to, teach these babies the numbers that I don't understand from Mexico with a beach in the background. And I really feel like you're gonna end up motivating, or I feel like you're going to impress upon some of your students like that fire that you have in you. Like if you teach a lesson with like the beach in the background or like some wild shit in the background or just like some crazy fly apartment, and your students realize, yo, Miss D, like what,
Where you
this is
at?
not what it
Ah!
this is not what it looked like last week. Like what we
Where
doing,
you
baby?
at? Where you at? Well,
And like
come on,
I
guys.
feel like
Miss D is a celebrity, guys. I got flown out and I'm in another country and I'm just here. What do you want me to tell you, guys? All right,
you
turn
got
on to the
flued out.
entry. Number one. Who wants to do number one?
But I really feel like you can speak that life into your students as well. So proof to source that y'all babies ain't being completely taught by duds. You know what I mean? Like people are out here with whole ass lives and fire and positivity to impart and pass on to your babies. But yeah, I am really looking forward to seeing everything that you continue to manifest for yourself while you are over in Mexico, just a little south of the border. And I'm really hoping that, a couple of things lighten up for me personally in my professional world so that I can whoop, hop over and sleep on said couch.
Well,
So
you're only one flight away, And my sister, you can have the bed. Easy.
Say
All
less.
right.
You done put it on the internet, the
It's a
podcast
I
internet,
can't take a bite.
the
I can't
unit,
take a bite.
the YouTube internet. It's been said. So, guys,
Thank you for
definitely check
having me.
out the links in the bio. Check out Danays, stream her music. Check out her art because she's not just a musician, she's an artist, as we've already established in the beginning of the episode. If you're interested in giveaways, whether it be for a sweatshirt, a $25 gift card to Jordan's Jungle, or a or whatever the fuck else I said I was giving away, y'all, really, description box and whatever platform you're listening to, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google, wherever you're at, just scroll to the description for the episode and there's going to be a link. That's it. So appreciate y'all. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for listening. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about the theme song. So I've got a new theme song this week. Which one do you like? Last week? This week? Let me know. That's it. All right, guys. Bye.